Happy Thursday! I'm the prop queen, Ariel Epstein, and I am back after missing yesterday's show. Hope that you guys got some winners from us on the YouTube page. Shout out to Mid-Major Matt for helping me out and doing some Major League Baseball props yesterday. Pretty good day, 2-1 in pitcher props yesterday that I gave out. And Mid-Major Matt, he swept the board. All 5 of his strikeout props and his pitcher props, all 5 of them went hit. Unbelievable. So Matt and I, essentially, Matt holding up the fort, we're 7-1 in the props we gave out for pitcher props on the YouTube page at Prop Queen Sports. Definitely worth checking out. Today on the show, happy birthday, Coach James Young. It is his birthday today. He's coming on the show around 5:45 p.m. Eastern time. He has to do his coaching. So everyone make sure to give Coach a birthday shout out when he does join the show in about 40 minutes from now. Mark Zinno joining the show in about 15 minutes. We'll talk college football. There's a big game tonight, NC State, Wake Forest. We're also going to talk NFL for Thursday Night Football tonight and Major League Baseball as well. A lot going on today and a lot of different headlines and news. I have to pull up some of the graphics. The, biggest news that impacts us over here on the show, Brock Purdy is expected to be out 2 to 5 weeks with a turf toe variant. Mac Jones in line for the start. Mac Jones, according to BetMGM's John Ewing, he's made 18 starts the past 2 years. He's 4-14 straight up and 6-12 against the spread. No bueno. No bueno. So definitely keep that in mind when looking at the 49ers, who are facing the New Orleans Saints this week. And it's kind of crazy because that line went from, I think it was 6.5 is what I saw it at. Let me double check that. On Sunday, after the games ended, when I snapshotted the lines, I saw San Fran -7. It went to 4.5, and now it's down to -3 in New Orleans. Total dropped 3 points, 43.5 down to 40.5. So that was the big news of the injury report in the NFL for today. It's like, right, I don't know. Mac Jones, Spencer Rattler, that game's a disaster. Also unfortunate for anyone who is on 49ers futures because we all said, right, if this team stays healthy, the 49ers' easiest schedule is filled with a bunch of talent on a roster with the easiest schedule in the NFL. So now you've got Brock Purdy out for a few weeks. George Kittle's hurt. You've got receivers that are still not playing. This is an absolute mess in San Francisco. Sometimes we think Vegas is dumb. They're not. Obviously, you would never think that the same injury bug would hit the same team twice in a row. Very rare. 49ers getting the brunt of it. And also, I actually have to ask Mark Zinno this when he pops in because maybe we'll have him come on the show a little bit earlier since he did just pop into the show. Also, glad that he has service. He was nervous that he had a blackout in his house, but he's good. Thank goodness. But here's what I'm going to get Zinno hyped up over before I bring him in. The Yankees manager, Aaron Boone, announces that Anthony Volpe has a shoulder injury. And that's exactly why, and I want to make sure I confirm the exact, a small tear in his labrum, and he's day-to-day after a cortisone injection. Anthony Volpe will not be playing. This is what we have to do. This is why our society sucks. Because when you suck at your job, you get fired. When you are not good at your job, you get demoted. You don't fake an injury. You don't fake illness because you suck at your job. Your boss certainly also doesn't fake it for you when you suck at your job. Right now, the Yankees are totally defending Anthony Volpe, who's hitting .206 on the year. Granted, he has 19 homers, but that's about all he could do. He's hitting .206 this season. Let's see any fun facts. Hitting .189 at Yankee Stadium. Volpe, even though he's hitting above 200 on the year, he hasn't hit above 200 since June. Month to month, Volpe's hitting .172 in July, .191 in August, and his batting average is below 100 for September. Yet we have to say that Anthony Volpe is not playing because he has a torn labrum. Get the hell out of here. Nobody is buying that, Aaron Boone. Nobody is buying that Anthony Volpe is hurt. It is very nice of you to try to protect him, but this is the biggest BS I have ever seen. The Yankees are an absolute train wreck. This bullpen is a disaster. The bullpen, they just lost 12-2 and 11-1 in the last 2 days against the Detroit Tigers. I mean, that is inexcusable. The bullpen yesterday, again, so Rodon only gave up 2 runs. Then you've got Duvall who gives up 3. Mark Leiter can't get in an inning, can't go an inning without getting in and out of trouble. Hill with 2 runs allowed. Weaver 3 runs allowed. I mean, this is an absolute disaster. The bullpen sucks. And I don't care who comes on the show and tells me the Yankees are talented. They're not. They're not talented. Night before against the Tigers, Will Warren throws a great game. 2 runs allowed. Fine, I'll take it. But then Cruz gives up 5 runs. Leiter, again, 4 runs. Aaron Boone. So yesterday, I had this event. A great event, by the way. Women's lacrosse launching their first full season next year. Maybelline is actually, the makeup company, they're actually sponsoring it. So it's the Maybelline Women's Lacrosse League. So I went to one of my favorite bars in the city, and we had an event last night. After the event, my friend Jordan and I decided we were going to go get pizza. We go to San Mateo, get pizza, sitting at the table watching the Yankees game. When Aaron Boone puts back in Mark Leiter again, a second straight day, after this dude gave up 4 runs the night before, we sat there with our jaws dropped to the ground. How do you put this guy back in the game? Yet they did. It's not Yankees tears, Sean. It's Yankees reality. They suck. Their manager doesn't manage the bullpen well. The bullpen sucks. There's nobody in the Yankees bullpen that you could trust. The only reason that the Yankees are sitting at the top of the odds board to win the World Series in the American League is because everyone else also is not trustworthy. Honestly, the Tigers should be ahead of the Yankees. I don't know how they're not. I'm looking at FanDuel. I'll show the screen. I'll share the screen. Let's share the screen. Looking at the World Series odds on FanDuel. I don't get it. This is all Yankees homer bias on the sports book. But honestly, why don't you go, they don't want the Yankees liability. That's the problem. They don't want people to go and bet the Yankees at 10-1 because they don't want to worry about everyone in New York going and betting the Yankees at 10-1 or LA. They know it's a big market team and they'll get the action. They don't want it. The Tigers are the better team, far and away. The Blue Jays, 10-1. I know that they're leading the division, but I'm not sold. I'm not sold that their bats will be good enough throughout the playoffs. They scare me, like the Mariners, that I could trust maybe, but I don't even trust their pitching. If the Blue Jays pitchers go on the road, the Blue Jays pitchers can't pitch well on the road. But there is nobody, the American League, I love the Mariners if they would hit. I just don't believe in the Yankees. The way that they're playing right now is an absolute train wreck. I don't trust the manager. I don't trust the bullpen. Maybe I trust starting pitching. Maybe they're kind of doing okay. The Yankees bats, boom or bust. So if you're going up against any top-notch pitchers, they can't get hits. At least they're going to replace Volpe with Caballero. At least he's going to play better at short. I'm trying to read the chat. The Mariners, they got a little bit better. It's just unfortunate that, on paper, the lineup's not horrible. There's no one's hitting. It's like a Mariners curse that no one can hit a baseball once they go there. Watch the Rangers get to the playoffs. The problem is the Rangers lost Eovaldi. And without Eovaldi, I can't see the Rangers being deep enough rotation-wise. But don't be surprised when the Houston Astros are back in the ALCS. Do not be surprised. That team always freaking finds a way. But guess what? I sure as hell hope they do. And I sure as hell hope that the Yankees don't. Because the only time that we're going to see a change is if the Yankees lose. But if the Yankees continue to win, nothing's changing. Let's bring on my good friend Mark Zinno. I know that he's feeling my pain. Zinno, first off, you've got to laugh at the Volpe labrum tear.
Isn't this the second time this year that they have had some sort of random injury for somebody? Or is that another team I'm trying to think of? But what is it? Your coaching staff, your medical staff, that they haven't been able to diagnose this for months. And furthermore, if it is a feigned injury, Why wouldn't you have done it a month and a half ago? Like, what more did you need?
They're so loyal that they can't.
My point. Like, it's ridiculous. You could have done it right after the trade deadline. I'm the biggest Yankee homer alive.
No, he's not.
Oh my God. He apparently is not paying attention very much. But you could have done it right after the trade deadline. Oh, we got Caballero here. We got, McMahon now. We got Fillings. Like, it doesn't make any sense. In your rant, I did some quick math because what you said about Anthony Volpe, you're like, well, he's got 19 home runs. And I joked around this year. I feel like the Yankees have more sub 240 home runs than any teams in baseball. It's like sub 240 hitters with home runs. So I did some quick math. The Yankees have 92 home runs from sub 240 hitters. That's Volpe, that is Ben Rice, that's Jazz Chisholm, and Austin Wells, right? Do you want to take a guess at how many strikeouts those four guys have? 470. That's almost 5 strikeouts for every 1 home run those dudes hit. So you want to sit here and talk to me about how the pop that they have. 5 strikeouts. 5. There's not even a productive at bat there. There's not even a move a runner over. There's not even a sacrifice fly. There's 5 strikeouts for every 1 ball that leaves the ballpark. And I would guarantee you, of those 92 home runs, I'd say at least 15%, let's go 9 to 14 home runs, came when they're up 8-2 already anyway. Useless home runs hit.
Useless.
No value.
But this team last year was never making the World Series if they didn't hit a couple of home runs. It
wasn't for Giancarlo Stanton
and
Soto. They're not they don't beat Kansas City. Like, that's the reality. And they certainly don't beat Cleveland. So, yeah, take my Yankee homer. Look, you're right. I will tell you this much, Ariel. It's not even them losing in the playoffs. They have to miss the playoffs if we want anything to change. Because
not win a series.
Or not win a game in the series. That's it, right? Get knocked out in 2 games and it'd be over with. But the crazy part is like when you talk about like teams that can get hot in the postseason, right? Teams that can make a run. The most critical part of doing that outside of clutch hitting is your bullpen. This is literally the worst part of this team right now. It is literally the worst thing about this team right now is their bullpen. And it's almost to a point, Ariel, like Boone doesn't know what to do, and I can't even blame him for mismanaging the bullpen because they all suck.
They all suck.
They all suck. So it doesn't matter who it's like back in April and May, we could be like, stop going to get Devin Williams. Stop going to get Williams.
Which, by the way, he kept going to Devin Williams.
He kept going to Devin Williams. But, now at this point, it's like, it doesn't matter who you get. Someone's going to get rocked. Someone's giving up, It's Yankees crash outs on my Christmas.
Sean Michael, you're going to be so upset. And I actually do hope that the Tigers do well because I like the Tigers. Yes. But just for Sean Michael's purposes, I'm going to laugh if they lose because I feel like Sean's going to have a meltdown.
Look, I still.
Who's the best team in the American League?
There is no best team in the American League. It's just who can survive.
Right. It's going to be who gets hot at the right time, whose pitching is better, who might get hot. I don't know. There is not a team in the American League. Who, honestly, the best bet the National League to win the World Series.
Yeah, I would tell you this much too. I like my futures on the Phillies and the Mets to win the World Series. I feel pretty good about because when you put those odds up before, again, here's the other problem that you were talking about with the Yankees and their odds pricing. Like the Dodgers are not priced accurately. They are not $2 and $3 better than everybody else, right? Like that's the issue. They're not $2.20 better than the Phillies. They're not. They're just flat out not better a team, right? Even with Snell and Glass now back and everybody, they are not $2 better. Their bullpen is concerning. But they have been such a favorite all year long to move them back now only creates more liability for the books for the people who bet on them to win the World Series. So to your point, Ariel, like the pricing for all of these is so messed up right now. But to me, the best money is the Phillies and the Mets to win the whole thing. I wish I could believe the Padres could get past the Dodgers, but eventually they'll kind of let me down and choke. The Cubs don't have the pitching, and I think their hitting will be suspect against good pitching. So for me, it leaves.
But I think that anyone who comes out of the National League is still better than anyone out of the AL.
Of course.
If you could get the minus 120 National League over the American League for World Series, go get it. If you really want to put money down on something that you don't care. Obviously, people like to sit on a plus something price. But at this rate, the value sucked out of most teams that have any. Like Seattle and San Diego and Houston, I guess, are teams that have some value to me. But if you don't trust any of those teams, then I think whoever comes out of the National League's the winner.
The Padres' only saving grace is that they can hit on the road and score on the road. But dear Lord, who bet on the Padres last night and watched them have a 1-0 lead and blow it? Me, that guy. So,
well, speaking of the Padres,
yeah,
you do like them tonight.
I do. I mean, look, this is more of a fade of anything else because Randy Vasquez is not really entirely trustworthy. But have you seen McCade Brown? Do you know who McCade Brown is? Because you have to do a little research to find out who McCade Brown is. He's the Rockies starting pitcher. He was called up 2 weeks ago, right from Double-A. And this just in, he's not a major league pitcher. A major league pitcher. Has given up at least 3 runs in all of his starts, has never lasted past 4 innings in any single one of them. And this is not a guy right now that actually should be pitching in the major leagues. And if he was on any other team, any other roster, even pick the White Sox, the second worst record in baseball, he's probably not pitching in the majors. But because it's the Rockies and they are just in free fall and trying to do anything right now, he's up here getting some major league experience for next year or spring training or whatever. But this is not a major league pitcher. Oh God! If the Padres bats are putrid at home, Ariel, like I just and they are making my over 86 wins, making me sweat it for the final 2 weeks. Like they have to keep dumping games like last night when they're up 1-0 and they couldn't push another stink and run across, and their bullpen, of course, blows it and loses 2-1. What a kick in the nuts that was. But you know, there are not many times I would advocate laying 1.5 with the home team, but given who the Padres are starting. And the Rockies are starting and the Rockies bullpen. This to me feels like enough here to go lay the 1.5 because if they don't absolutely beat this team, it says a lot about the Padres. And by the way, every single game this year between the Padres and Rockies has gotten 1 of 2 results. Padres have covered 1.5, or the Rockies have won outright. So if you don't like Padres 1.5, bet the Rockies money line because the Padres are not winning this game by just 1 run. They're either blowing them out or they're losing. Period. So. Take that for what it's worth.
All or nothing with the Padres. Thursday Night Football. I haven't even touched Thursday Night Football yet. We actually both agree on Austin Eckler. I gave you the better number. I know you sent me 23.5, which is where it is on a lot of books, but I actually saw 20.5 over at BetMGM around -130, -140. Why are you also agreeing with Eckler?
Well, now I agree with you just because you said it, because you know I have to check with you on every freaking prop I ever make. I'm like, Ariel's this good.
Love it.
This is here simply because he got over this number last week with 3 receptions, 30 yards, and 3 targets. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I definitely lean the over here. New pass rush for the Packers. I'm not going to be surprised to see Jaden Daniels have to dump the ball off quickly, or the whole game plan for Cliff Kingsbury is to be catch Green Bay in over pursuit with screen plays that are designed to go to Eckler. The Packers gave up 14 catches to running back last week against the Lions. And Eckler has averaged over 10 yards per catch on 44 catches in his time in D.C. So we go Eckler over his receiving yards here.
For the quarterback, Jordan Love, I find it very interesting and also intriguing because over 5.5 rushing yards against a run D in the Commanders that wasn't good last year. I kind of was looking at Josh Jacobs today, but the number just feels a little bit too high for me on Jacobs. Against bad run Ds last year, Jacobs only went over in 2 of 7 games. Jordan Love going over his rushing yards. How come a quarterback should be a little bit more mobile tonight?
Well, look, when I look at quarterback, like I don't usually get involved with guys like Lamar and Josh Allen and rushing props for quarterbacks because there's just, the numbers get out of control. I tend to like to take quarterback rushing props where I can get it all in one carry if I need it, right? That's all it takes is 1 rush, and typically he can get there, and that's what this number kind of represents. I think one that the Commanders play a lot more man coverage. That's Dan Quinn, right? That's his style. And they were top 8 in man coverage last week. And so with man coverage and guys covering downfield, there's not a guy in the middle of the field spying somebody, so he should have lanes to run. I think we're going to see a lot more dropbacks in this game than we saw from Jordan Love last week because they had the lead for a better part of the game. They didn't have to, throw with any semblance of regularness, that's not a word, with any semblance of regularity because they were controlling the game. I would also add this, and this is part of the reason why I like the over in the game too. I think both of these defenses last week were very bend, don't break. The Lions and Giants were combined 1 for 6 in the red zone. What does that tell you? That means the other teams got to the red zone and failed. It means they can move the ball between the 20s and do it with some success, even though they couldn't convert and turn it into points. So on the macro level, their defenses look like they played really well. When you peel it back a little bit, they didn't really stop them that much. The other team's offenses stopped themselves in the red zone. So the score looks bigger than what it is. I bring that to light to say that Jordan Love's going to be able to move the ball on this Commanders defense and get up and down the field with them with regularity and with more throwing. I think that presents more opportunities for him to take off and run against an aggressive blitzing, because that's how Dan Quinn does it, right? He'll play man coverage and blitz. That's kind of the way his defense is run. I've covered him here in Atlanta. He's not shy about it. He's not a high blitz rate guy, but when he does it, he does it. And that's enough for us to be able to get home here with Jordan Love going over 5.5 rushing yards.
In regards to Casbro 93's question about Jaden Daniels over his rushing yards, I have no interest in it. The Packers really good up front, and they were top 10 against mobile quarterbacks last year. It would not be the strength for me that I would want to attack on Green Bay. I think Washington on their end, you want to attack their pass rush, but the secondary for Green Bay would be more so where I'd want to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I can't say, like, Green Bay was pretty good last year. Like, Green Bay, I'm looking at my stats right now.
You know what problem is on? I've seen a lot of people on this for this game is Debo over 4.5 receptions.
Green Bay allowed the 4th least receiving yards per game to wide receivers last year. 8th least last week. It's really pass catching backs that Green Bay struggles against, and like short passes, like tight ends, running backs. It's the short passes that really get Green Bay middle of the field. Not so much, I guess, their corners and their defensive backs in general. Washington, their corners were definitely better. Washington least receptions allowed to running backs, 5th least receptions allowed to tight ends, and receiving yards allowed to tight ends. So they were good against tight ends and running backs, but yeah, I would say attack Washington's run D. And I think the over, for example, now I know Shawn Michaels says he doesn't really trust the offenses, but the defenses might be tired on this short week, especially the Commanders on the road on a short week.
Well, yeah, I tend to agree.
Not that the Giants were that daunting of an offense.
Really all that taxing. But the other prop I looked at and studied, as I just said, and I'm curious your thoughts. I don't know if you heard me a moment ago. Debo over 4.5 receptions. He had 10 targets last week. He got 7 receptions on 10 targets. Now, obviously, McLaren is going to start to get worked more into the offense, and I think he will. But am I incorrect in thinking that Debo is the best athlete on the field? Other than Micah Parsons, Debo is the best athlete on the field, right? Like,
I hate betting wide receivers for the sole purpose of having to choose between Debo and Scary Terry.
Right, but here's the thing. When you talk about that short shovel pass, that's not really a pass, BS, that counts as a pass and it counts as a reception, is Debo. And everything underneath for him is there. And he ran a ton of routes out of the slot last week, so the underneath stuff is going to be there. I don't need him to get yards. I just need him to get the ball in his hands, which is what I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to do no matter how he does it. So I think the short passing game to Debo tonight is a viable look. It's just when I tend to see a lot of the, places I do my research and other people who are on the things, I'm like, okay, everybody's on this. I can't really get on it because it's not that I have a desire to be original, because I'm not, but just kind of, it's one of those things where you see everybody on one side, you're like, oh, okay, nobody's actually going the other way on this thing. And now I get nervous.
Well, I'm a little nervous for this college football game tonight because NC State Wake Forest, huge game for the Carolinas. I have a friend who's a radio host down there. He's going to Wake to cover it. I know for the Carolinas what this means, especially because the NC State Wolfpack, they have always felt like the rankings in football schools in North Carolina was like NC State for a while was so good. UNC and Duke were more the basketball schools, and NC State was like really good for a bit compared to the other two. UNC, NC State, always a rival. Duke, meh. But then Wake Forest all of a sudden has like always, and ever since I was there 10 years ago, Wake Forest is always in games for in-state rivals, whether they were terrible or they were like, I remember being at the NC State game with my ex-boyfriend. It was Wake and NC State. Wake was like one of the worst teams in college football. And they ended up upsetting NC State, who was, I think, ranked at the time. So, thoughts on this game between NC State and Wake Forest?
Well, here's something of note that Jake Dickert is in his first season in head coach. When you talk about Wake Forest, they were a different offense then. They were a different, mentality and philosophy on the offensive side. So I don't really know how good the Wake offense is going to be. Remember, this is a Wake team that only managed 10 points against Kennesaw State. Was one of the worst teams in FBS last year. So not a good sign. That doesn't mean that they can't get right and turn this thing around, right? Like that's, they did score 42 points in week 2 against Western Carolina. So maybe things are starting to figure their way out. The problem I have with NC State here, I like CJ Bailey a lot. I think he's a good quarterback. I am still sour at NC State over my week 1 team total of 27.5 and it landing on 20, whatever. What did they score first week against East Carolina? That stupid game when they scored 24, but left about 14 points on the field between penalties in the red zone, missed field goals and everything else. Like it was just a complete bleep show offensively, full of mistakes for the Wolfpack. They seem to have righted it last week. They were down by, I think, 21 to UVA. I had UVA plus 2.5 last week and lost that one. But so I trust the NC State offense here. What I don't know is how good is their defense, because East Carolina gave them fits that entire game, offense or defensively. And so I would tend to lean on Wake Forest plus the points. But this is a game area that I feel like is worth cutting in half too as well. If NC State is in this, is going to blow them out, it's going to happen early. They're going to click right away. Everything's going to look good. Wake Forest defense won't be able to keep up, and they're going to put points up early. But I don't know if there's a game script where I can see Wake getting down early and then charging back. But I can see where Wake, takes advantage of NC State sloppiness early. Game is tight, has a short lead maybe at half, or is only down by a field goal, and then possibly NC State pulls away later. Like I think that's a more viable game script here. So if you want to take Wake, I'd probably, lean to a first half number because, my old philosophy. If they ain't covering early, they probably ain't covering late. I feel that kind of way about Wake Forest right now. If their offense is clicking and they're in this thing, and the 42 points from last week is more of what they are than the 10 points from first week, then yeah, I think NC State is very susceptible to losing this game outright. NC State should be the better team, and they should, if it makes sense to say it this way, they should easily cover this number because of the level of talent that they have over Wake Forest, who's only returning 5 starters on offense, doesn't it? As a new quarterback and a new head coach. But they are a defense that last year that lacked. So they got to stay in it early if they want to stay in the full game, I guess, if that's, makes sense.
Early lines that caught your eye for college football slate this week?
Missed the best of the number on Florida, still taking them. Like, here's the thing, Ariel. If the idiot doesn't spit on the South Florida player, okay, and Florida wins that game 16-15, right? The field goal never happens. Florida's still ranked, and this line opens up at LSU 6.5. And we're talking about a whole different conversation between these two teams, right? Because nobody really cares at the end of the day that they struggled. It didn't. If Clemson would have lost to Troy, then we have a different line here. They beat Troy, even though it was a slow game. They didn't do anything. They're still a 3.5-point favorite on the road. So Florida is going to make the card for me. I'll tell you the other 2 bets I love the most. I love A&M this week. Kelly disagrees with me. She hates A&M. She thinks they're paper tigers. She knows they're going to fall apart. She may be right, but if they're going to make a coming out party statement, it's here. Split a unit. A&M plus 6.5. Put some on the money line as well. They might be able to upset Notre Dame. Unless Jeremiah Love goes off, that's the only way Notre Dame controls this game. So I think they can get it. Their quarterback read is going to be very good, I think. So I like A&M. East Carolina, minus 7.5 at Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is awful. They only scored 13 points at home, only 1 touchdown against Charleston Southern, and it didn't come until the fourth quarter. Coastal Carolina may be the worst team in FCS. That's how bad they are. I know it's a rivalry game. I have no reservations about laying 7.5 with East Carolina here. Couple other things that I'm looking at. I mean, Ariel, I got some real DGen specials for you if you really.
We love DGen specials. Go for it.
Okay, yeah, and these are when you're about 6 to 8 cocktails deep, and we have hit 9 o'clock, and you realize your 3:30 bet is lost, your 7:30 bet is losing, and you want to catch up. Here's what you do. You go to your little betting app and you look at Stanford against Boston College. Okay. Now, Boston College lost a gut punch game last week at Michigan State on the road, flew back to Chestnut Hill. Now they're flying all the way out to Stanford to play a Stanford team. Ariel, you know Stanford's last home game? November 16th of last year. They haven't played a game there in 11 months.
That's crazy.
Now, it's not like Stanford is the best home field advantage here, but I like the under there, and 12.5 is a lot for BC to lay on the road. I like their quarterback, but for me in this spot, it's
Pete Thamel just announced Boston College will be without, now let me get the alert.
Defensive starters.
Yeah, they're going to be without their defensive starters, cornerback Amari Jackson, defensive tackle Owen Stadmeyer.
Oh, let's go DGen special. Come on, big trees. Here we go.
They're gone.
And then the other one is also late. This is just, Ariel, I think you would understand this. Comparative spread analysis here where something tells you that the number is off. Arizona State, Texas State. Go back to last year, right? These two teams played early in the year. I think it was week 2. And they played at Texas State. Now, Arizona State made the college football playoff. People don't remember this. Arizona State closed as a 2.5-point underdog at Texas State in that game, and they won it by 7. They closed as an underdog to a group of 5 school. They are now a 16.5, 17-point favorite a year later. Way overvalued spread on Arizona State. I know they're coming off a loss last week. That is an insane jump. 17-plus points is an insane number jump. And, oh, by the way, last year in the matchup between these two teams, you know who led the team in rushing? Cam Scatabo. You know who led the team in receiving that game? Cam Scatabo. You know who's not playing for Arizona State this year?
Cam Scatabo.
Tell him. Texas State, baby. Give me the Bobcats.
Oh, don't do that again. Don't do that. Your girlfriend will not like that. Maybe she does. Maybe she does. I don't know. Maybe that's where you got it from.
Yeah, exactly.
In the NFL this weekend, you live in Atlanta. I hate to do this to myself, the same way you go back to the Braves all the time. I hate that I kind of like the Falcons again this week against the Vikings. And I lost on the 2.5 in week 1.
So did I.
So I'm a little nervous, but I'm not fully buying the Vikes just yet.
I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to be very plain about this. When you bet the Falcons this year, understand something. Their coaching staff is highly suspect. That's what is going to cost them games. It's not a talent level because I think Penix is going to be really good. They certainly have the dogs on offense and the players, and their defense is going to be better. Their coaching staff is going to drive you up a wall with some really bad, questionable decisions. And I like Raheem Morris. I know him well. We have a great relationship, but they are suspect, and so is Zach Robinson. Watch what's going to happen this year because they're running way too much pistol because they refuse to put Michael Penix under center. And how many 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s are they going to miss this year because they're doing that stupid crap where the quarterback is 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage and the running back is 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and we want to hand it off on a 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. Stupid. The coaching is going to burn them. 2 more quick notes on college, by the way, since you mentioned Georgia. Tech and Tennessee are the 2 dogs that everybody loves this week. I feel like they're going to be square. I'm staying off both the games. I wouldn't bet the favorites. I won't bet Georgia, and I'm certainly not betting Clemson. But I like the comment that just came in. I should be 6 beer mugs deep.
Love it,
yeah. I won't bet them, the favorites, but don't be surprised if both Georgia and Clemson win handily. And I would tell you, too, I don't think the spread matters in either game. The dog, if you're going to play the dog, take them on the money line. Do it. Because I don't, for it to land on 3 in either one of those games, I think is a slimmer possibility than anything else. The favorite's going to win and win handily, or the dog's going to win outright.
I know Georgia, Tennessee is like game of the week this week.
CT Betts is on Georgia, and he fired that early.
Who did?
CT Betts.
Oh,
Monday.
So that's going to be the detrimental game to CT Betts' health. Yeah. I'll just remember that in the group chat when I'm not paying attention Saturday. It's like Saturdays are my days where now I'm going to be at street lacrosse for Premier Lacrosse on Saturday from 2 to 5. They're doing this street lacrosse thing. It's going to be kind of cool, like to see everyone just playing lacrosse.
I called lacrosse for 8 years, right?
You did?
I called professional lacrosse in the indoor league and the outdoor league for 8 years. Before the PLL existed. I called
you should bet PLL with us.
For the NLL and the MLL when it was the outdoor league. Yeah.
Huh. Well, now the Women's Lacrosse League is launching its first full season next summer.
I covered lax for 10 years.
Wow. That's cool. Did the Suns play?
No.
Did you play?
We're short in Italian. It's not really our thing.
But how'd you get into reffing lacrosse?
Oh, not reffing, calling.
Oh, coaching.
No, calling it. Like I call it.
Calling play-by-play.
Yeah, doing play-by-play for lacrosse.
Oh.
So I went to Loyola. It's a big lacrosse school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I grew up in Long Island. There's a lot of lacrosse players. People
in the chat are asking you about K-State since you brought up Kelly in Vegas.
That's probably the right side. But I find them wholly untrustworthy. Look, can I tell you something else on Friday? I kind of like Houston a lot. Colorado's down to their third string quarterback, and I think Houston's under the radar. That's the Friday night play for me. I'd lay the 4.5 with Houston.
Okay. Mark Zinno just gave us a ton of action, but his main card for tonight is right here. Austin Eckler, over 20.5 receiving yards. Jordan Love, over 5.5 rushing yards. And the Padres, -1.5. Mark Zinno, thanks so much for joining the show today. Good luck with those bets.
Love you, Bubs. Thanks. We'll do it again soon. Ciao.
Obviously. Before we get Coach on, you guys know, he said 5:45. Coach is coming on at we don't know. He hit the under the other day, but he's not here yet. So while we wait, let's get to propaganda. Propaganda. Here are your most bet on props according to BetMGM for tonight, starting with Jaden Daniels over 20.5 pass completions. I don't really bet completions props, but it's not bad. I see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Packers allowed the 9th most completions last year. I guess. Sure. I see why the public's doing that. Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, he likes to and wants to be named Bill. Over 37.5 rushing yards. And look at this. His rushing yards prop was 36.5, now 41.5. 94% of the money's on the over. There is way too much public love coming in on Bill. Bill is like one game in. We can't be betting overs yet on that. And also, he's a Commander. Like, he's on the wrong team. If he was a Packer, I'd say maybe. But on the Commanders against the Packers run D, I have no interest in that. And also, why are we getting hype after one game? Last year, the Packers ranked 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. 8th least rushing yards per game, the Packers last year. No thank you there. So I would say fade the public. We're going to fade Bill because everybody's obsessed with him after one freaking game. Deebo Samuel over 4.5 rushing yards. Feel like, I guess, everyone is waiting for Deebo to continue to break out on the offense week 2 into this season. Jaden Daniels over 226.5 passing yards. I didn't really look into that one, but let's see. Passing yards against Green Bay. I was actually looking, I'll tell you after. Green Bay, middle of the pack. Not really that apparent. I was actually looking at, and I didn't bet it, but Jordan Love under passing yards is at 226.5 also. Washington allowed the 3rd least passing yards per game to quarterbacks last year at just over 204 passing yards a game. It's you never know with Jordan Love. It's a roller coaster. So again, it's a hard one, you never know Jordan Love. It's a hard one. receiver situation, very shaky out in Green Bay. Washington's good against receivers. I think their key to winning the game would be running the football and just beating down the Commanders' bad run D. So I like Josh Jacobs. I just think the prop's too high. If I had to fade, if I'm going against a quarterback, I'm going to go under on Jordan Love today. I don't really have an opinion on Jaden Daniels passing yards. And Jaden Reed over receiving yards. No opinion on that either. But that's your 5 most bet on props according to BetMGM. Jacobs' number is 76.5. So I was looking at Josh Jacobs' number. So Josh Jacobs, even though he averaged he played 7 games he played against bottom 10 run defenses last year. He averaged 81.7, but he only went over in 2 of 7 because he had a couple monster games. Against the Colts, Jacobs put up 151. Against Jacksonville, 127. Other than those 2 games, he didn't go over 76.5 rushing yards. He had 76 in one game. All the others were below 70. 76.5 just feels too high, even though Josh Jacobs probably is going to get a bunch of carries because I think the smart play is to run down the Commanders' run D and see, I don't trust that the Commander, we didn't really see how good or bad the Commanders' run D is this year solely because they faced the Giants. Tyrone Tracy Jr., we're really, we can't stake the Commanders' defensive, we can't see what the Commanders' quality is on defense because of that. I was waiting for the show to happen. Yeah, I mean, I have some other numbers, but that's the Josh Jacobs thing. I'm going to switch back over, I guess, to Major League Baseball. Still waiting on Coach. He's not here yet. I have a fishy line, and it's in the MLB, and it's a prop. Fishy line, Bryce Miller, under 17.5 outs is the fishy line. Why is the number 17.5 when he's gone under in every game? Including the last time that he faced, was it the Angels? Do they play tonight? Now I'm all mixed up. Yeah, they host the Angels tonight. So it's a fishy line because I always tell you guys, if something happened the first time, I usually don't like to bet it to happen again the second time. Bryce Miller having a 17.5 outs prop. It should be, according to this, at least 16.5, not 17.5. It's a fishy line because why is this number so high when look at all the starts he's had this year? They've all gone under except one. The book knows what they're doing, guys. If the book is telling you 17.5, I'm not saying to bet the over. I'm just saying stay away or bet the over. But I would not bet the under. I'm just very worried about that fishy line. I was waiting for Coach. I was just trying to buy some time, but he's still not here. We're taking the over. He thinks it's his birthday so that he could be late. Jordan Love may get some rushing yards. Russ was running last week. Sneaky look. Let's take a look. We could go to props.cash, take a look at the NFL. See if any of these numbers made any sense from last year. Let's see how much people run in prime time. And again, the props.cash deal is still live. If you sign up for props.cash using promo code PropQueen, then you get 50% off, aka it's $9. And you can see all this stuff. Well, Tucker Craft here. Okay. You want to look at touchdowns? In prime time in 2024, only one in prime time. At home last year, 3 of 9, he had a touchdown at home. I'm trying to see what else. Oh, Jordan Love. That's what you guys were saying. Jordan Love rushing yards. Come on, work. We love props.cash. Jordan Love rushing yards 2024 in prime time Only once he went over. When Jordan Love is at home, only 2 of 8 games did he go over. 5.5. Oof. It's very low. Very low. Eckler under rushing. Well, Matt Reichel, you know I like this. You know I like the over receiving yards on Eckler. Debo anytime touchdown, Joseph Rodriguez says. Why? If you guys are going to throw props into the chat, let me know why. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about why you like it. Can't just give out. If I just came on here and gave you guys picks, you'd be like, oh, thanks, Ariel. Bye. Or you wouldn't tune in because you'd say I'm a dumb bimbo blonde. You come for info. So come on in the chat. Give us some info. Why are you going with that? Joseph Rodriguez, why are you going with it? Eckler under rushing. Feels like Eckler needs 12 carries to get to 22 against the Packers. Again, I'm looking at Eckler receiving yards. So I'll tell you guys some stats about Eckler and the receiving yards. I guess we will just go into my Thursday Night Football props. And if Coach pops in, he'll just have to deal with it. So for the first time this year, I actually wait. Oh, Coach just logged in. He's going to wait now. Tucker Kraft under 41.5 receiving yards. This number was 34.5. It's scary to fade the line when it went up by a lot. It is. I'm almost thinking this number is now too high. So last year, Kraft only had 16. Last week, Kraft only had 16 receiving yards. He went under this against teams that are top 10 against tight ends in 3 of 5 games last year. 41.5, actually more than that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5. 41.5 key numbers. See, that 34.5 was a bad number to take the under on, and I was willing to even do that. But now 41.5, that number is way too high. I hope did I bet it? Damn it. I might have been in a rush. I hope I bet I think I did. I think I took the better number. Let's see what I've got. Oh, I already bet this weekend. See, this is my problem. I always forget what I bet and didn't bet. That's not good. Anyway, I'm hoping I didn't miss that number now on 41.5 for Tucker Kraft. Let me see if it's still posted. Still there on ESPN Bet. Still on FanDuel. 41.5 on DraftKings. I feel like I bet this. Maybe I bet Eckler. I think I bet Eckler on BetMGM over minus. Eckler was on BetMGM at 20.5 for minus 140. So I did bet that. Let me double check here. Yeah, I didn't bet this yet. Okay, we're going to bet Tucker Kraft under 41.5 receiving yards right now. That was a big difference. So when it was 34.5, he went under in 3 of those 5. But now that it's 41.5, he last year against teams that are top 10 against tight ends never went over 41.5 receiving yards. So this is something he never did last year. Washington, 5th least receiving yards per game allowed to tight ends last year. 5th least last week. I know it was only Daniel Bellinger. He had 1 catch for 14 yards. But Tucker Kraft under 41.5 receiving yards. And Austin Eckler over 20.5 receiving yards, minus 140 now. That's because Eckler went over this number in 4 of 6 last year against teams that are bottom 10 against pass catching backs. Green Bay allowed the 3rd most receiving yards per game to pass catching backs last year. And last week, Jahmyr Gibbs, 10 catches, 31 yards. David Montgomery, 4 catches, 18 yards. Austin Eckler in the passing game, that's where he excels. We're going over on Eckler, under on Kraft. Jamie, what'd you say? You seen the Bucs stat? Last 5 games, no running back has topped over 26 yards. Okay, I'll look into that. I've got some really good running back stats for tomorrow. I listed them on the Ringer today. So if you want to take a listen to the Ringer, you can. But right now, we're switching over to the W because it is the birthday of the king of the W, the man that you all love, the favorite guest on the show in the chat. Everybody blow it up. Happy birthday, Coach James Young.
Listen, even if you were making that up, I'll take it. Thank you very much, Queen.
Oh, the chat thrives when you're in it. I'm actually tweet right now that you're on the show and everyone should say happy birthday to you. Coach, Any good plans for the birthday?
No, I did a bunch of training. Sorry, I was 5:45-ish.
You hit the over today. It's fine.
The over. But then I'll go pick up the girls. We'll have a little pizza and cake, and that's it. But I figured that I had to come on, I guess, 1A, 1B with my podcast to come on with you because it's a great time. I love being on the podcast. I love, the audience. It's fun. Shout out to my guy. I see Sean's in here. I see Joe's in here. Where's one guy that calls me the uncle? I don't see him. I think he's absent today.
AOD is here.
AOD better be here. Okay, so
AOD, where you at? Damn, he was here.
Yeah, I know, man. It's a tough scene. It's a tough scene, and tonight is interesting, Ariel, because betting tonight is going to be difficult. So the way I kind of played it's kind of like I played it last time. Is I tried to find teams or games in which you.
I hope this is a typo. I hope that's a typo, Mark.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Take it easy, there, guy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Here he is. AOD's here.
Oh, here we go. My guy, my guy. Just pop on with you and then go pick up the girls for a little pizza and cake. By the way, Ariel, I haven't heard. Who are you taking tonight? Are you going Commanders or are you taking the Packers?
I'm actually officially taking nobody. I just bet props in Thursday Night Football because I hate Thursday Night Football. If I had to pick a side, it would be the Packers. When I see a bad run D against a team that has a good running back and can take advantage and hold on to the football for longer for time of possession, I will always take the team that has a good running back against a bad run D because of the clock.
And I was just thinking about this before we get into the WNBA. If you look at the way that the Packers looked over the weekend versus Detroit, it was very impressive. Then you start peeling back. Well, their offensive coordinator is gone, Ben Johnson. Their passing game coordinator, who I don't know what the fuck he did to Justin Fields, but he actually made him look like a competent quarterback, even though I was there and I was inebriated on Sunday. And then you look at the fact that a lot of the line is missing. I'm going to be a little contrarian. I think the Redskins cover tonight. I actually think they may win outright.
Okay. I'll have some friends that'll be very happy to hear that. Commanders covering the spread according to Coach on his birthday. And by the way, Sean actually gave you credit for something. Good call on the Fever.
Well, I mean, the Fever game, it was against the Lynx. But they had nothing to play for. And I think that's where I was looking at. So let's get to our picks because I got to go pick up these badass kids.
You want to go props or sides first?
Let's go sides.
Okay. Hold on. I got to bring you back in. 1 second. Coach's card.
My guy. Golden State Valkyries +7 tonight versus the Minnesota Lynx. I'm going back to what I did last time. What does Minnesota have to play for tonight? Right? What do they have to play for? I do think the Valkyries are still playing for something. Last time out, I took the Valkyries. I took about plus the points, and they only lost by 1. I think they're in the game. Give me the Valkyries +7. Liberty, who are they playing tonight?
You tell me. I have two don't quiz me.
You know who they're playing tonight. Who are they playing tonight?
I really didn't even look. This guy.
Feed the Sky. Minus 8.5.
Why is it only 14?
Well, listen. There could be players that are out, but to me, I'm just going first half because if I'm Sandy Bordello, I got to get my kids. I got to get my ladies playing. Got to remember, last game out versus Washington was the first time that they had the entire team. Remember, obviously, you talked about Messerman coming late. John Paul Jones gets hurt. Stewie gets hurt. Anessa gets hurt. Cloud gets hurt. First game, the whole team played. I think they play at least the first half. Give me the Liberty minus 8.5 in the first half. And then also I'm going Aces first half versus the Sparks. They need to win to secure the 2 seed. I think they will do that. I'm worried about that full spread. Sparks have nothing to play for. Give me the Aces first half minus 6.5.
Then you've got your props for tonight going to the prop card.
Yeah, hey, Ariel, we hit this last time.
We did.
If this was our guy Joe Lisi, this is what we call it, smash. So I'm smashing over 1.5 made threes for Salon. Had it in 6 straight games, and then obviously this is a game that's important for the Valkyries. Give me Salon over 1.5 made threes. Paige Becker's over 17.5. Why? It's the last game. It's the last time we're going to see Paige until unrivaled. So I think Paige will go off tonight. Give me over 17.5. And then Ionescu is interesting because I'm banking on, this is part of my thought with the first half, is she has not shot the ball well, but she's gone over her assists the last 2 times out. And when you have everyone else that you have to get going, John Quell, Stewie, Messerman, Cloud, Kennedy Burke off the bench, Sabally came back her first game, right? Leona Fevic, like you have to have someone that's going to distribute. And I'm not going to say that this is going to be what I would take a lot during the playoffs, but I think it's important for the Liberty to play well tonight, and that's their point guard. Give me Sabrina Ionescu over 5.5 assists tonight.
Coach, what's the drink for tonight?
Oh no, I'm good tonight. I got the kids. I'm gonna be nice.
It's the birthday. I guess
I may have a beer. And I may have a little sip of bourbon during the game. You know, shout out. I love my brown liquor, but I don't fuck with Hennessy since I was 30. I'm 49.
Basically, all Coach wants for his birthday is the Liberty to smash the sky.
Smash! First half smash. By the way, shout out to everybody. I love you all. So, Joe, you know, listen, Sean, listen, bro. I'm still working on the Mabry shit. I didn't forget about you, bro. I'm trying to work on the Mabry stuff. All right, you know, no, Sean, I was going to say that was during the playoffs, but the Sun have the worst record in the WNBA, so that will not be tonight.
Which bourbon?
Oh, my God. Joe, shit. I like Angel's Envy. I like Angel's Envy a lot. Widow Jane, I fuck with a little bit. If I go cheap, I go Redemption bourbon, but I like a nice Angel's Envy neat.
They love you, Coach. We all love you, Coach. Have the best birthday ever, and we'll see you again next week.
Hey, and when I come back on, the season will be over. And guess what? If the Chicago Sky are playing, I'm still fucking fading their asses. Bye.
Bye. Coach is the best. We love Coach. It's 6 o'clock, which means we've got a Royal Locks. Royal Locks of the day. We've got a pitcher prop and an NFL prop. Austin Eckler over 20.5 receiving yards. I already mentioned this earlier. Eckler just had 3 catches for 31 yards against the Giants last week, who also last year was a bad defense against pass catching backs. Last year overall, Austin Eckler went over in 4 of 6 against teams that are bottom 10 in receiving yards allowed to running backs. Green Bay allowed the 3rd most receiving yards per game to running backs last year at just over 40 yards a game. If you look at week 1, Jahmyr Gibbs, 31 receiving yards. David Montgomery, 18 receiving yards. So we're going with the over. Austin Eckler, 20.5 receiving yards. I feel like everyone caught on to that, so it is a little scary. David Peterson, over 15.5 outs. On the road, Peterson's averaging just over 18 outs a game, going over in 11 of 13 starts. Pitchers are averaging 16 outs a start against Philly this year. It's why 60% of the last 20 pitchers who were lefties went over their outs prop against the Phillies. So take the over. David Peterson against those Phillies tonight. Royal Locks. Oh, Alex says Golden anytime touchdown. Right? Plus 270. It's his Royal Lock. Packers -3. Jay Main's Royal Lock. We got some people on opposing sides here, and we had a few other anytime touchdowns. Debo, and you guys in the chat like Debo tonight as well. That's it for me here. The Prop Queen, Ariel Epstein. I will be back tomorrow, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. See you guys then, and good luck to your bet.